In the unforgiving expanse of the Old West, where every traveler faced peril and strangers were often met with suspicion, a lone woman's act of kindness would spark a story few could have imagined. It happened on a dusty, forgotten road where a man collapsed, weary and nearly lifeless, far from any town or aid. No one around suspected the weight he carried, not just of exhaustion, but of a secret so profound that it could change the fate of kingdoms. This was no ordinary stranger. He was the son of an emperor, hidden away in the wild frontier, his identity veiled beneath layers of hardship and mystery. The woman who found him was as ordinary as the rugged land she called home, yet her compassion shone like a rare gem in a world hardened by struggle. Without hesitation, she offered help to the collapsing man, unaware of the royal blood that coursed through his veins. Her hands, steady and gentle, worked to save him, not for glory or reward, but because in that moment, she saw only a fellow human being in desperate need. It was a meeting of two worlds, one grounded in the harsh realities of frontier life, the other cloaked in the power and privilege of distant empires. As she tended to him beneath the vast sky, the silence between them held a tension that spoke volumes. What secrets did this man carry? Why had he fled from the grandeur of his birthright to wander the lonely trails of the West? The answers lay hidden beneath his exhaustion, waiting to unfold in a tale of courage, sacrifice, and unexpected bonds. This was a story of how compassion can bridge worlds, unravel mysteries, and change destinies. The quiet, unassuming landscape bore witness to an encounter that would ripple far beyond the cracked earth and endless horizon. It was a reminder that even in the wildest, most unforgiving places, moments of grace and humanity can shine brightest. The woman's simple act of kindness became the first step in a journey that would challenge everything they both believed about identity, loyalty, and the power of kindness. Join me as we delve into this remarkable tale from the Old West, where an ordinary woman's courage intersected with the hidden legacy of an emperor's son. Discover how a chance encounter on a dusty road transformed two lives and sparked a story of hope and resilience that echoes through history. The sun had barely risen over the rugged landscape when she first spotted him, a figure slumped against a weathered tree, his breath shallow and his face pale as the desert dawn. Travelers rarely lingered on that lonely stretch of road, and even fewer stopped to help those who fell along the way. But there was something in her heart that stirred, a quiet pull of empathy that urged her forward despite the risks. As she approached, the man's eyes fluttered open, revealing a spark of life beneath the exhaustion. She did not know then who he truly was, only that he needed her. Her hands worked quickly, steady despite the heat and dust that clung to her skin. She tore strips from her own worn shawl to bind the wounds that marred his body, whispered soothing words that seemed to flow from the very earth beneath their feet. Around them, the wilderness remained silent, as if holding its breath for what was to come. In that moment, a fragile bond formed between two strangers, one born of desperation, the other of compassion. Neither could yet imagine how fate had entwined their paths. The man's story, shrouded in mystery, was locked behind his weary gaze and labored breathing. His identity, hidden from the world, carried the weight of kingdoms and secrets too dangerous to reveal. Yet here, in the vast solitude of the West, he was simply a man, vulnerable, broken, and in need of kindness. She saw past the veils of nobility and power, reaching into the raw humanity that connected them. And as she tended to him, the harsh frontier seemed to soften, the distance between worlds shrinking with every heartbeat. Days passed as he slowly regained strength beneath her care, the quiet rhythms of the West mingling with the whispers of a secret life far removed from the dusty trails and rough cabins. The townsfolk noticed the change in her, a new determination in her eyes, a soft strength born from tending to a stranger who was anything but ordinary. Rumors began to swirl, but no one dared guess the truth hidden behind the stranger's scars and silence. Yet even in secrecy, their connection deepened, woven with threads of trust, hope, and unspoken understanding. This chapter of the story reveals the transformative power of empathy. How a single act of kindness in a ruthless land can bridge worlds and spark a journey none could foresee. It's a reminder that beneath the rugged exterior of the Old West lies a profound humanity, waiting to be awakened by compassion's gentle hand. As the traveler's health returned, so too did fragments of his past, piecing together a tale both astonishing and perilous. He was no ordinary man, but the son of an emperor, a young prince forced into exile by political intrigue and treachery that stretched across continents. His royal blood set him apart, yet in the wilderness, titles and crowns meant little. Here, survival depended on grit, and trust was a currency harder to earn than gold. The woman who had saved him became his unexpected anchor in a world where allies were scarce and enemies lurked in every shadow. Her life, rooted in the harsh realities of frontier living, was a stark contrast to the grandeur and danger of his former existence. Yet, their stories intertwined like the winding rivers carving through the landscape, disparate currents converging to form a powerful, unstoppable force. Together, they navigated the treacherous terrain of the West and the hidden dangers that followed the prince's every step. Each day tested their resolve, deepening a bond forged not by birthright, but by shared struggle and mutual respect. The quiet moments they shared beneath endless skies were filled with stories whispered in trust, tales of lost kingdoms, betrayals, and the heavy burden of leadership left behind. The prince's world was vast and complicated, full of promises and threats that reached even to the lonely trails of the frontier. But here, with her by his side, he found a semblance of peace and a reminder that even the most fractured souls could find redemption through kindness and connection. Meanwhile, the woman's courage grew as she faced dangers she had never imagined. Shadowy figures sent to reclaim the lost heir, mercenaries and spies lurking in the dust. Her strength was tested, but her spirit remained unbroken, fueled by the knowledge that her compassion had sparked a chain of events far beyond their remote corner of the world. The Old West, with all its rugged beauty and danger, became the stage for a story of survival, loyalty, and the transformative power of unexpected alliances. This part of the tale underscores a timeless truth, that in the face of adversity, human connection and bravery can forge bonds stronger than bloodlines or titles. It reminds us that heroes come in many forms, and sometimes the greatest strength lies in the quiet acts of kindness that change destinies. As the days turned into weeks, their bond deepened, forged not only through survival, but through the shared understanding of what it meant to carry burdens unseen. The woman, rooted in the harshness of frontier life, became the prince's unwavering support, guiding him through the unforgiving terrain and teaching him the ways of the West. Each lesson she imparted was a reminder that strength was not just found in crowns or armies, but in resilience, humility, and the willingness to face hardship head-on. Together, they faced threats lurking both in the wild and from the shadows cast by the prince's past. Mercenaries sent by distant enemies stalked the trails, their intentions as deadly as the unforgiving landscape. Yet, the woman's quiet courage and sharp instincts proved invaluable, often outwitting those who sought to reclaim the lost heir. It was in these moments of peril that their partnership became undeniable, a blend of grit, trust, and fierce determination that turned the tide in their favor time and time again. The prince's regal bearing, once hidden beneath layers of exhaustion and secrecy, began to resurface, tempered now by the lessons learned in the wilderness. He came to understand that true leadership demanded more than birthright. It required empathy, courage, and the ability to inspire loyalty through action rather than decree. The woman's influence was a catalyst for this transformation, showing him the power of compassion amidst chaos and the value of every life touched along the way. Their journey was also one of discovery, not just of survival tactics or hidden enemies, but of themselves. The quiet moments beneath star-filled skies became opportunities for reflection and growth, as they shared hopes, fears, and dreams once thought impossible. In the vast openness of the West, far from the courts and intrigues of empire, they found a rare freedom to rebuild, to heal, and to forge a new path together. This chapter of their story illustrates a timeless lesson, that adversity, when met with trust and kindness, can lead to profound transformation. It's a testament to the enduring power of partnership and the strength that arises when two unlikely souls unite against overwhelming odds. News of a mysterious protector and the wounded traveler spread slowly through neighboring towns and camps, carried by whispers and wary glances. Few knew the true identity of the man hidden beneath the dust and scars, but many were captivated by the tales of a royal exile surviving in the wilderness, aided by a fearless woman whose heart was as vast as the plains. Their story became a beacon of hope, a legend whispered in the flickering light of campfires, inspiring those who dreamed of a better life beyond the violence and despair. The political intrigue that had forced the prince into exile now cast long shadows across the frontier as emissaries from faraway courts sought to retrieve him. Their arrival brought tension and danger, challenging the fragile peace the pair had cultivated. Yet, the woman's unyielding spirit and the prince's growing confidence proved formidable against these threats. They navigated a delicate balance of hiding in plain sight while preparing for the moment when the prince might reclaim his birthright. Amidst these trials, the woman's influence became evident not only in their survival, but in the prince's evolving sense of self. She taught him that true power was not in the throne he had lost, but in the hearts he could win through kindness and courage. Their journey was reshaping him into a leader worthy of his heritage, tempered by the grit and grace learned on the dusty trails and starry nights of the Old West. The local townsfolk, initially skeptical of the pair, began to see them as symbols of hope and resilience. Their story challenged the harsh realities of frontier life, offering a glimpse of something greater, a future where loyalty, honor, and compassion could triumph over treachery and fear. The prince and the woman became living proof that even the most unlikely alliances could forge a path to redemption and strength. This segment highlights the complex interplay of danger, growth, and community, a vivid reminder that in the wildest landscapes, courage and kindness are the truest guides. It's a narrative that invites us to believe in transformation, even when the odds seem insurmountable. The journey through the wild frontier tested them in ways they never expected. Harsh storms battered the land, turning trails into muddy rivers and threatening to swallow them whole. The unforgiving sun blazed down mercilessly, draining strength and hope alike. Yet, through every challenge, the woman's unwavering spirit and the prince's newfound resilience held firm. Their survival was a testament not only to their grit, but to the unbreakable bond that had grown between them, a bond forged in hardship and fortified by mutual respect. Encounters with hostile outlaws became more frequent as news of the prince's presence spread, stirring fear and greed in equal measure. But the woman, quick-witted and fearless, was always a step ahead, using the rugged terrain and local knowledge to outsmart those who sought to capture or harm them. The prince, once sheltered and uncertain, grew into a leader who inspired loyalty through his actions and quiet strength, shedding the weight of his royal past while embracing the demands of the harsh present. Their nights were spent beneath endless skies, where the stars bore silent witness to their dreams and fears. They shared stories that revealed hidden depths, the woman's hopes for a peaceful life beyond struggle, the prince's longing for justice and redemption. In these quiet moments, the vast wilderness felt less like a prison and more like a sanctuary, a place where transformation was not only possible but inevitable. Amidst the danger, moments of tenderness and humanity surfaced. The woman's care healed not only wounds but also the scars left by betrayal and loss. The prince learned that true strength was not measured by power or bloodline, but by compassion and courage in the face of adversity. Their journey became a powerful testament to the enduring human spirit, a story of redemption, hope, and the transformative power of kindness. This part of the story deepens the emotional connection, illustrating how adversity can forge strength and how unlikely companions can become the greatest allies in the fight for survival and meaning. As the pair moved closer to their goal, whispers of their deeds reached the ears of distant allies and foes alike. The political forces that had driven the prince into exile began to stir, sending envoys to the frontier in search of the lost heir. Their intentions were unclear. Some sought to reclaim him as a pawn in greater games, others to eliminate the threat he posed. The tension thickened, casting a shadow over the fragile hope the woman and the prince had nurtured. Yet, even in the face of mounting danger, the woman's steadfastness never wavered. She became more than a protector. She was a symbol of resistance and courage, a beacon for those who believed in justice beyond the borders of empires. Her quiet strength inspired those around her, proving that leadership could be found in the humblest of hearts and the most unexpected places. The prince, transformed by his experiences and the woman's influence, began to embrace his role not just as an heir, but as a man determined to redefine what it meant to lead. His journey was no longer about reclaiming a throne, but about forging a legacy of honor, compassion, and resilience that transcended birthright. Together, they faced the looming challenges with a unity that strengthened their resolve and deepened their trust. The wilderness that had once seemed a vast, lonely expanse now felt like a crucible where destinies were forged. Their story was becoming a legend, a tale of exile and redemption, of survival and transformation that echoed across the frontier and beyond. It was a reminder that even the most improbable journeys could lead to greatness when guided by courage and kindness. This segment highlights the growing stakes and the evolution of both characters, setting the stage for the profound challenges and victories yet to come. As they ventured deeper into the rugged wilderness, the dangers surrounding the prince's identity became ever more palpable. The outlaws and spies sent by rival factions grew bolder, weaving through the shadows like ghosts intent on extinguishing the flicker of hope he represented. But the woman, whose life had been forged in the crucible of the frontier, stood unwaveringly by his side. Her resolve was a testament to the power of loyalty born not from blood, but from shared trials and unwavering trust. Every narrow escape, every silent night spent hiding beneath the stars, only strengthened the bond that had blossomed between them, a bond that transcended the wild landscape and the burdens they both carried. In the quiet moments between danger and flight, the prince revealed glimpses of the man beneath the royal guise, a soul yearning for redemption and a future not dictated by the shadows of his past. He spoke of the empire he left behind, the betrayals that forced him into exile, and the dreams of a world where power served justice rather than greed. The woman listened, offering no judgment, only the steady presence that had become his anchor in a world adrift. Their connection was a fragile light in the vast wilderness, illuminating the path forward when the darkness threatened to overwhelm. The challenges they faced were not only external, but deeply internal. The prince grappled with his identity, torn between the legacy he was born into and the man he was becoming. The woman, too, faced her own doubts and fears, questioning if the sacrifices demanded by their journey were worth the uncertain future that awaited them. Yet, through shared strength and vulnerability, they found solace in each other, a sanctuary amid the chaos. Their story was not just one of survival, but of transformation, a journey that reshaped their understanding of courage, love, and purpose. As word of their presence spread, more allies emerged from unexpected places, fellow travelers, frontier folk, and even former enemies who saw in the prince and the woman a chance to rewrite the brutal narratives of the West. Together, they forged a fragile but determined community, united by a common belief in justice and the possibility of a new dawn. The quiet woman's simple act of kindness had blossomed into a movement, a testament to the ripple effect of compassion in the harshest of lands. This chapter reveals how adversity can forge unbreakable bonds and ignite hope that transcends circumstance. It speaks to the power of connection and the resilience found in choosing trust over fear, even when the odds seem insurmountable. The mounting tension reached a crescendo as emissaries from distant courts closed in, their intentions veiled, but their menace unmistakable. The prince and the woman found themselves at the heart of a conflict that stretched beyond the rugged mountains and dusty trails, entangling them in a web of political intrigue and dangerous alliances. The wilderness, once a refuge, now became a battleground where survival meant outwitting not only the elements but the powerful forces that sought to control their fate. Despite the growing peril, The woman's unwavering courage and keen instincts remained their greatest asset. She moved through the shadows with the skill of someone who knew the land intimately, guiding the prince through hidden paths and secret hideouts. Her fierce loyalty and quiet strength inspired those around them, turning allies into devoted followers and skeptics into believers. She was more than a protector. She was the heart of their resistance, a symbol of hope in a world darkened by betrayal. The prince, too, embraced his evolving role, drawing upon the lessons learned on the frontier to become a leader who could inspire and unite. His journey was no longer defined solely by survival, but by a growing vision of a just world, one where power was tempered by compassion and leadership was earned through integrity rather than inheritance. The woman's influence shaped this transformation, grounding him in the reality of their struggles while nurturing the ideals that would one day guide a nation. Together, they faced impossible odds, their story weaving through danger and triumph, heartbreak and hope. The Old West, with all its rugged beauty and unforgiving challenges, became the backdrop for a tale that transcended time, a story of exile, courage, and the enduring power of kindness to change even the harshest destinies. This segment deepens the stakes and showcases the protagonist's growth, preparing the narrative for the climactic challenges and ultimate resolutions that await. As the final battles loomed on the horizon, the prince and the woman stood as symbols of hope against a backdrop of uncertainty and danger. Their journey, which began as a chance encounter on a desolate road, had transformed into a mission that carried the weight of kingdoms and dreams for a better future. The woman's steadfast courage and unwavering compassion had breathed life into the prince's resolve, shaping him into a leader ready to reclaim not just a throne, but the honor and justice his people deserved. Their alliance was no longer just survival. It was the foundation of a legacy that would inspire generations. The forces aligned against them were formidable, wielding power and influence that reached far beyond the rugged frontiers they had come to know. Yet, it was not sheer might that determined the outcome, but the resilience forged in countless moments of quiet bravery and selfless sacrifice. The woman, whose kindness had saved a fading stranger, now stood shoulder to shoulder with a prince who had shed the trappings of royalty to embrace the raw strength of humanity. Together, they embodied the truth that leadership is born not of birthright alone, but of the courage to stand for what is right, even when the world seems bent on destruction. The night before the decisive confrontation, they shared a moment beneath the endless stars, a reminder of how far they had come and the bonds that had carried them through. Words were few, for their shared history spoke volumes, filled with trust, hope, and a profound understanding that their struggle was bigger than themselves. They knew the path ahead was fraught with peril, but their hearts burned with a fierce light, a beacon for all who believed in justice and the power of kindness to overcome even the darkest forces. The dawn broke over the valley as they faced their destiny, the harsh landscape echoing the tension in the air. The battle was fierce, not just of weapons, but of wills and spirits. Yet, the quiet courage they had nurtured through their journey proved unstoppable. In the end, it was their compassion, loyalty, and unyielding belief in one another that turned the tide, forging a new chapter in the history of their world. A chapter where hope triumphed over fear and humanity over cruelty. This moment marks the climax of their story, a powerful testament to the strength found in unity, love, and the quiet acts of bravery that changed the course of history. With the dust settled and the echoes of battle fading into memory, the prince and the woman stood victorious, not only in war but in the hearts of those they had touched. Their journey from strangers on a desolate road to leaders of a new dawn became legend, a tale whispered across the frontier and beyond, reminding all who heard it that the greatest power lies in kindness and courage. The empire he was born to lead was no longer just a distant dream, but a promise of renewal shaped by the lessons learned in the wild. The woman's role in this transformation was as vital as the prince's own. Her compassion had been the spark that ignited their shared destiny. Together, they rebuilt not only a kingdom, but a community founded on trust, resilience, and respect for the strength found in vulnerability. Their story became a living testament to the idea that heroes are often born in the quietest moments, and that the greatest legacies arise from simple acts of humanity. Their triumph was not without sacrifice, but it was a victory defined by hope, a hope that endured beyond their time, inspiring those who came after to believe in the power of connection and courage. The Old West, with all its harshness and beauty, had been the crucible in which their spirits were forged, and their legacy would shine as a beacon for all who face impossible odds. This final chapter invites us to reflect on the enduring impact of empathy and bravery, urging us to embrace our own potential to change lives through kindness. The tale of the woman who helped a man collapsing on the road, the Emperor's Son, is a timeless reminder that even in the wildest places, compassion can lead to greatness. As their story echoes through the ages, it calls each of us to listen closely and act boldly, knowing that sometimes the smallest gestures hold the power to shape history. As we reach the end of this remarkable journey, we are reminded that even the smallest acts of kindness have the power to change destinies. The woman's decision to help a man collapsing on a lonely road sparked a chain of events that transcended borders and kingdoms, proving that compassion is a force stronger than any crown or throne. Her courage and empathy not only saved a life, but ignited hope in a harsh world, a timeless lesson that resonates far beyond the dusty trails of the Old West. Throughout their story, we see that true strength lies not in titles or power, but in humility, resilience, and the willingness to stand for others when it matters most. The prince's transformation, shaped by her unwavering support, shows us that leadership is born from empathy and courage. It challenges us all to look beyond appearances and to value the quiet heroes among us, whose actions speak louder than words or recognition ever could. This tale calls us to reflect on our own lives and the power we hold to impact those around us. How often do we overlook the chance to be the helping hand in someone's darkest hour? The legacy of the woman and the Emperor's Son reminds us that our choices, no matter how small, ripple outward, shaping futures, forging bonds, and sometimes even altering the course of history itself. If this story has touched your heart or sparked a new perspective, I invite you to join our growing community. Subscribe to the channel to discover more incredible tales of courage and compassion. Like this video if it inspired you, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters, and your story could be the next to inspire someone else. Together, we can celebrate the quiet acts of bravery that shape our world, proving that true greatness comes not from power or fame, but from the courage to care. Remember, the legacy we leave is written not in gold or glory, but in the kindness we show and the lives we touch.